Hello and welcome. It is Monday the 12th of July. The year is 2021, and I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming. Had a bad night. My cat is very sick. I'm not feeling very good. But the news never rests. So it's Monday, which means it's time for the tabletop role-playing game news of the week. Sadly, there's not a lot of news that doesn't revolve around TSR or Wizards of the Coast. So let's take a look at the stories that aren't D&D centric, though there's not a lot of them. A company called Beano's Battle Mat has created a bunch of 3D animated battle mats for Ravenloft. They feature such locations as Death House, Ravenloft, Bavaria, Blue Water Inn, and other classic places from the Ravenloft setting. So if you're looking for some amazing Ravenloft 3D animated battle mats, check them out. I don't know if they're compatible with any one particular program, or if you just use them on their own on your computer with their supplied materials to move things around in these settings. It does say that it is intended for use with the Foundry, but it will also work with Roll20. So there you go. What else is going on in the news? We already talked about the fact that the second of the 5 free D&D adventures is up from Wizards of the Coast, so they're on the Wizards of the Coast webpage. It's an interesting story. I really like the idea of stuff happened. This planeswalker caused a lot of shenanigans, and now people are responding to those shenanigans and trying to figure out how this individual did it and what kind of powers it's left behind, and the adventurers sort of have to play catch up behind both the individuals that are trying to take advantage of this planeswalker and what the planeswalker did in the past. And I like adventures like that. I mean, it sort of develops a story that's ongoing, and it sort of deals with the repercussions of previous adventures and how current adventurers have to deal with the fact that other adventurers have done stuff and to mess up the world. So that's cool. The Eberron guy, Keith Baker, that's his name, right? Keith Baker? Yeah, Keith Baker is doing a Eberron Ravenloft crossover which will be up on the DM's Guild. It's called Dread Metro, and it's going to be released, I think, tomorrow. So that's interesting. A gothic steampunk adventure, Eberron Warforged with laser rifles versus not evil vampires. I don't know. Keith Baker usually does pretty good stuff. We have apparently Amazon has ranked all the top D&D 5e adventures. Not surprisingly, Curse of Strahd comes in as number 1. Let's see what else before we get to the stuff. Let's see. Okay. Crucible 7 has announced that it's no longer going to be publishing the Lone Wolf role-playing game with Holmag Press. Due to some recent unexpected developments, Crucible 7 has decided to let this license go. There is a Humble Bumble up over at Humble Bumble that includes all the books from the series. The series was short-lived. Never really got the respect it should have, considering how popular the Lone Wolf books were. I heard it was a really good game, but yeah, just never really had a chance to do anything with it. Mofetus has released a new source book for Conan the Adventurer in the Age of Undreamed. Conan the Exiles is a 112-page source book about survival in the Conan world. If you missed out on it, Wizards of the Coast has announced that it's going to be live streaming marathons of the classic 1980s Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. This started on the other day. Looks like it started on the 9th and is going through the weekend and continuing on, I guess, I don't know how long. All 27 episodes, including possibly the never-aired 28th episode. You can also get the box set. It's back in print. It's available for $29.99 or $39.99 for foil. This event is to promote the upcoming Magic the Gathering Secret Lair release of the 6-card featuring artworks from the cartoon series. So there you go. If you want to watch all the classic D&D cartoons and try and figure out why a male barbarian is carrying a unicorn around when unicorns usually only hang out with female virgins, it's a cool cartoon. 2 large conventions have announced the end of the face mask requirements of attendees. UK Games Expo will no longer require masks. And it looks like Gen Con has also released an update stating that masks no longer be required at an event of conversation. And events of the convention. Yeah, I can't talk. Gen Con is still scheduled for September 16th through 19th. That includes the regular Gen Con Online, and the pop-up Gen Con. So check to see if your local game store, that's S Games and Anime here in Ventura, is doing a pop-up Gen Con. Is it too soon to start telling people to take the masks off, considering there's another variant floating around and stuff like that? I'm not going to touch that one. I leave that to each and every individual. D&D Wizards of the Coast is announcing, more individuals of relative levels of fame to join the D&D live stream coming up July 16th and 17th, including Peyton Oswalt will be joining one. Looks like they are running Palace of the Vampire Queen, the original module, I guess, updated for 5th edition. Be interested to see how they're doing that one. Most of the names here I don't recognize or what the shows they're from, but we do know that Peyton Oswalt is doing one of them. Kevin Smith will be on another one. Jack Black's going to be in one of these D&D live stream things. God, considering, I love Jack Black, but considering what a, extravagant personality he is anybody else really going to get to do anything? Also, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes will be taking part in a live act, one of these Dungeons & Dragons things, as well as several wrestlers from the WWE, including an individual whose name is Mace. And finally, we have a review up of the new Defiant Urban Arcana role-playing game. No, this is not based upon the television show of the same name. So that's up. And then, of course, we round up with the TSR news, because it has just become the Kardashians of our hobby. We just keep picking at it because we can't stop looking. So yes, the TSR news engine never seems to stop, which almost makes me start wondering, back to my original premise, is this some great plan? Because really, my God, even though they're doing all these horrible things and making all these dumb mistakes, they are continuously in the news, and we are continuously talking about them. So the fiasco continues. As we know, there was no longer any companies using the name TSR. Wizards of the Coast still holds the license for all the products that were made during those times. TSR2, which holds the rights to anything related to Top Secrets, has changed its name to Solarian Games. And TSR3, which is the one that Ernie Gary Gygax is associated with, and the Hobby Shop Dungeon, is changed their name to Wonderfilled, which they have misspelled 3 different times on their website. Wonderfilled is being represented by the mysterious Michael, who claims to be the publicity. I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't slept. The guy in charge of publicity and Twitter accounts for Wonderfilled. He then went and the mysterious Michael, not me, deleted all the accounts associated with Wonderfilled /TSR3 and has claimed that Wonderfilled /TSR3 has no responsibility and is not responsible for anything that was said on any of the Twitter accounts previously to the cutoff when he deleted them the day before yesterday. So all those crazy things that everybody was angry about and that stuff that Ernie Gygax said in Twitter, Wonderfilled has deleted those account and saying they are not responsible. The TSR3 are now Wonderfilled is now we're saying that they are the original 1973 TSR, which of course isn't true because we know that TSR3 is not the old TSR. There is no old TSR. That company no longer exists. The rights to all their product are owned by Wizards of the Coast Hasbro, and just because you use the name TSR does not make you the old TSR. I mean, you could say you are, I suppose. It's like me saying I invented lightning. I mean, it's not true, but I can say it, so they can say that they're the original TSR just because Ernie Gary Gygax, but you're not the original TSR. Also, we do know that in rebranding themselves, TSR3 misspelled Wonderfilled on 3 separate occasions. Meanwhile, Mr. Deinhardt is continuing to go around calling himself TSR or TSR 3.5, and that he now holds the rights to Star Frontiers, Giant Lands, Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum, Gamma World, Dark Sun, Boot Hill, and that he is going to make product for these titles, even though Cyborg Commander, even though he does not hold the IP for any of those titles and cannot make product for any of those titles without permission from Wizards of the Coast Hasbro. You can, of course, using the Creative Commons and the OGL, make product that is approved to use with 5e, or approved to use with Star Frontiers, or approved to use with Boot Hill. I don't know why you'd want to. I don't think anybody's played Boot Hill in, 30, 40 years. But he can't make the product. We do know that the words TSR, and now in the latest news, we have discovered that in 2019, apparently somebody named BrainCloud, who is probably somehow associated with TSR3, filed a trademark with the state of Wisconsin for the name Wonderfilled Incorporated, but that trademark has currently been declared delinquent by the Secretary of State of Wisconsin. So I don't know what that means in regards to TSR3 now referring to itself as Wonderfilled Incorporated, since that copyright has been labeled delinquent. The TSR copyright is owned by someone because TSR3 swooped in and grabbed the license when TSR2 let the license drop, which is why TSR2 has now rebranded themselves Solarian. TSR3 was going to call themselves TSR, which is fine because anybody can call themselves TSR. We already know that there is a TSR flooring company. But now, of course, they have rebranded themselves Wonderfilled, which means somebody still owns the iconic name, but nobody is currently using it, except, of course, Mr. Diehard is now going around saying he's TSR 3.5, or he's the new TSR, and he's going to do stuff with the products that he holds the license to, like Giant Lands, Star Frontiers, Dungeon Hobby Shop, the Museum, Gamma World, and Dark Sun, and Cyborg Commander, and other things, which, of course, as I just said, he doesn't have the rights to any of those. He can't release games called Star Frontiers. He can release games that are approved for use with Star Frontiers. This just never ends. It does sort of, go back to the whole Kardashian Andy Kaufman theory that this is just all some bizarre plan, because I know it on paper this seems utterly ridiculous and stupid and back-asswards and just like the worst way to run a company and get anything done. And, literally a first-year business student could have done a better job with this. But on the other hand, it's keeping them in the news and it's keeping people aware of whatever's going on and it's drawing attention to them. And at the end of the day, isn't that what's most important, is that you're getting attention to your product, even if there is no actual product? So is this some massive Machiavellian manipulation of the media that we are just not smart enough to understand? Or is just a series of unfortunate events being orchestrated by a bunch of people who should not be anywhere near a company or the internet, and it just looks like we are paying attention to it because it's a trash fire and we can't look away. You tell me what you think. And that's it for the news. Of course, there isn't a lot of news that isn't related to Wizards of the Coast or TSR, but we'll keep trying. Until next time, I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming. I think I'm usually known as the OGGM. If you appreciate my content, comment down below. If you don't appreciate my comment, I don't care. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs by January 1st. Until then, stay warm, stay dry, stay safe, stay happy, stay off my land. I will talk to you later. This TSR thing just never, ever ends, does it?